Hello everyone, how are you all doing? I hope you're all well. Thank you all for watching my videos, it really means a lot, I appreciate it. So, as you all probably heard, Game Week 8, yesterday they announced that after all it will happen. So, a couple of days ago, everyone thought that Game Week 8 will be cancelled and that we basically won't have in Premier League game week until October, but surprisingly yesterday they announced that game week 8 is going to happen and only 3 games will be cancelled. So as you can see on the screen for game week 8, the 3 games that won't be played are Chelsea versus Liverpool, Manchester United versus Leeds, and Brighton versus Palace. All other games are on. So yes, so because of that, my original plan was to wildcard in game week 9, but because of all this happening, I already wildcarded, and yes, my wildcard is active. So let's quickly see how my wildcard looks at the moment. So I will go through every position. Let's start with the goalkeeper. So I'm set on Nick Pope for my wildcard goalkeeper. I think he is the best option, he is the standout option. He has great fixtures, he looks amazing. Just last game he got 12 points, I believe. Yes, he had 9 saves. So at the moment I feel like he is the best option, and I will most likely have him in my team until my next wildcard. So that's at least 10 game weeks, I would say, maybe more. For my second goalkeeper choice, I still have Ward. He is still starting games for Leicester, so at some point he might become a good option. But if I need that extra 0.1 for whatever reason, for whatever position, I will just downgrade him to Iverson from Leicester also. So yeah, that's the plan for the goalkeeper position. Now moving into the defense, as you can see, I have Fofana at 4.4. With Chelsea's new coach Graham Potter from Brighton, I believe the Chelsea's season is about to change. I think they have a lot of great defensive options, and I think some clean sheets and some good points are coming for them. Now Graham Potter actually plays the same formation as Thomas Tuchel used to play, so he does play with 3 defenders, central defenders, so that makes Fofana still a good option, because that basically means, let's just go to Chelsea really quick. So Thiago Silva, Koulibaly and Fofana will most likely be the 3 starting central defenders for Chelsea. Now if some other coach came into the team that plays something like 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 formation, then Fofana wouldn't have been an option. Most likely it would have been Koulibaly and maybe Thiago Silva, and there would have been a rotation. But with Potter, I still think that Fofana will most likely start games and will play. So at 4.4 he's very good to have, and Chelsea have a Champions League game coming up, so I will look at the formation in that game, but I think Fofana is good to own, to have. Cancelo also stays in my team for the wildcard. Now in game week 11-12 I might consider changing him to, I don't know, maybe to Trent, maybe to some other option that will appear in the meantime, we will see. But for these 3 game weeks he will stay in my wildcard, so these are all great games for him. And Kieran Trippier is another player that comes in my team. I got him in just before his price rise, so I got him in for 5.2. Now I don't really plan to have a double up on a Newcastle defense for a long time, so I will most likely have him for the first 5 games, and after Everton at home maybe I will transfer him out, because I don't like doubling up on a defense that's not in the traditional top 6. So defense that's not either Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City and teams like that. I don't like it. I don't like to double up, because the scores are very unpredictable. And yes, but for now I think there is value here. They have great, these 3 fixtures are amazing. So yes, he will be in my wildcard team. Ivan Perisic is a player I have at the moment, but he probably won't be here now that I think about it. The reason for that is, yes, this is an amazing fixture for him, and he could hold here and get like 15 points. He could get a clean sheet, assist and some bonus points. And this is the gimmick, and this is the reason why I got him in my team. But after that he has 2 tough away games, and as you can see here, game week 12 another away game against Man United. So in the next 5 games he only has, I would say, 2 decent good games. So maybe he's way too short term, so maybe I'm only looking at 1 game week from him, so he could end up leaving my team, and I could just get Reece James instead of him. Now keep in mind, Reece James and Fofana don't have a game week 8 fixture, but I will put them on my bench, and then I would have them for game week 9 ready and set to go. That is another option. And for the last spot in my defense, I already have Nico Williams at 4 million, but I am considering switching it up a bit. So I am looking at West Ham defender. I am looking at Emerson. He's also 4 million. They have great fixtures coming up. There are some clean sheets here, definitely. And one worry is with Emerson that Cresswell plays in pretty much the same position as him. Now Cresswell has a flag, so he's not still fit. But the question becomes, when he does become fit, does he get straight into the team and bench Emerson, or does Emerson keep his position? That's one thing I need to consider, but at the moment my plan is to have Ederson in my wildcard. Maybe actually the safer if I have couple of if I have 0.4 basically left in my bank at the end, maybe the safer option is to just get Zufall instead, because he is nailed on his side. So maybe that is the better option, but that I will leave that till the end and see how much money I have in the bank. That will depend of the rest of my team. So yes, this is most likely the defense I will go with on my wildcard. Now let's move to the midfield. No, let's actually talk about the attack first, because I am pretty much set on my attack. So as you can see, of course I have Haaland. He is in my team and will be most likely until the end of the season, bar any injuries. As you can see, I have bought Mitrovic finally. His fixtures are great coming up, and he's already proven that it doesn't really matter who he plays against, he scores against pretty much all the teams. So I should have had him earlier, but because of my formation, because I had two strikers only, it was very hard for me to get him. But not now on wildcard, he is definitely going to stay in my team. So those two players are set, and as you can see, I have Alexander Isak from Newcastle at the moment, another player that has great fixtures and he looks very lively whenever I watch him play. He's already scored a goal, and with Callum Wilson coming back from injury as well, that might boost his chances even more. Now, one player that I want to have in my team for the upcoming fixtures in the attack is actually Harry Kane. Let me just find him. Now, I would like to have Kane for a couple of reasons. Basically, this, first of all, Kane has had a great season already. The reason why nobody is really talking about him is because of Haaland, but I see no reason why I wouldn't own both of them. Now, this fixture is amazing for Kane. If I end up with him in my team, I will captain him against Leicester, that's for sure. And then Arsenal away, game week 9. That's actually a fixture in which Harry Kane tends to score pretty much every game. He has an amazing record against Arsenal, and that's another fixture I am happy to have him in. So looking from his perspective, unlike Perisic for example, these are fixtures that are great for him. Now, the plan is to have, let me just add him really quick. My plan is to get Harry Kane, but only if, let me just find him, only if Alan St. Maximus, I believe his name is like that, only is if he is fit for this game week. The reason for that is, if he is fit, I am definitely happy to have him as my Newcastle attacker. So I would just add him in the midfield and then have Harry Kane up front. So I'm waiting for the Newcastle team news to see what the situation is with him. Is he training with the team? Is he expected to start these games? He when I last saw, he was expected to return for this game, September 17th, so I am waiting for their team news. Now, in case he doesn't start this game, if he is still injured, then I will just rotate him and Harry Kane for Isaac, and then most likely the other player will be Son. So that's a simple rotation, basically having one Spurs and one Newcastle attacker. Now I know Son is out of form, but yes, he doesn't score goals or get assists, but he actually looks good on the field. So I can see him changing his season from Game Week 8 and starting to get some attacking returns, but ideally I would like to have the first option, which is Kane and Islands and Maximum, but I will have to wait and see for that. Now one more player coming in my midfield, and this is going to be a punt. This is a player that hasn't really shown a lot this season yet, but with the amazing fixtures coming up and the fact that he is fighting for a place in England's World Cup. So I believe last season he was called to play for England, but with his current form he might not get called for the World Cup, so I think he will have to pick up his form and start getting some goals. That player is Jarrod Bowen from West Ham. He's 8.1. I am convinced he's going to get at least, let's say, maybe 5 or 6 goals in these game weeks until the World Cup. So he's very low owned, only 2.6% of the game have him. So he's a huge differential, and I think I will go for him and hope that he's going to be the player to boost my rank. Now, as you can see, I have De Bruyne in my team, but basically De Bruyne, Haaland and Son or Kane is too much premium. I can't afford all three of them. As you can see, it's minus 4.3 at the moment, so it's too expensive. So I will most likely have to decide whether I keep De Bruyne or a Spurs attacker instead. At the moment I am leaning towards a Spurs attacker because Man City's fixtures, yes, they are good, but as you can see here, they have Liverpool away, Arsenal away. Also they play Man United at home, and in that game I think most likely Man United will park the bus and try to keep this game tight. So in the next 5 game weeks, 3 game weeks are tough for them, so maybe doubling up on their attack is not the best option for the moment. So I will most likely not have De Bruyne in my wildcard, and I will look for some cheaper options. And another player that caught my eye yesterday actually is James Maddison from Leicester. Once again, great fixtures coming up after Spurs. For the Spurs game, I can't just bench him if I don't want to play him. and then he plays Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth. These are all great, amazing games, and I am convinced that at some point Leicester are gonna start picking up points, and James Maddison is the main player, the main focus of the Leicester team. So I think he is a great option coming up. I definitely want to have him in my team as well. So as you can see, this team on the screen, I can afford it and I can go with it for the game week 8. Now the one player left that I am thinking about is Martinelli. So my plan is, or was rather, to transfer him out for these fixtures. He has some tough fixtures coming up, but the problem with that is that his price is now 6.5, and basically I got him in my team at 6 million. I have had him since game week 1, so basically if I transfer him out, I will lose on a lot of how do you say it, on a lot of price. So basically if I transfer him out, I can't really transfer him back in, or I shouldn't. It would be an awful thing to do. So that's my thought at the moment. Should I just keep him in my team because of the price, or should I just transfer him out, and then when the fixtures turn, when I want to have another Arsenal attacker, I would just go for some of their other options, maybe Odegaard, maybe go back to Gabriel Jesus and things like that. I am leaning towards that at the moment. So he has a good game week 8 fixture. He plays Brentford away. I might keep him for that game, so my team might look like this, and then after that I can transfer him out for maybe one player I have been looking at since yesterday is Gordon from Everton. He has favorable fixtures coming up, and he looks very good on the field. He is nailed, and I think he could become a good option for his price. So at some point I might add him in my team as well. And yes, that's pretty much it. As you can notice, I have no Liverpool players in my team at the moment. I think that I don't think that's too risky. I think Liverpool have a problem right now. Their team doesn't look good, and I don't feel that it's too risky going without their options for the moment. But I would say the most important thing is to have a plan of how to get the Liverpool players back in the team if needed. So I'm looking at this game week 12 fixture, or game week 13, whenever, and I'm looking at this thinking this is the time I want some of the Liverpool players back in my team. So for example, if I want Trent, I can just get him instead of Cancelo, who has Liverpool away, Arsenal away, Brighton. So I can just get him in instead, or maybe instead of James. And when it comes to Salah, I can transfer him in for Son, for example, in game week 12, but only if I see that Liverpool start playing good football and they start looking like the team from last season. but yes, that's the important thing, I believe, to have a plan of how to get their players back if needed. Now keep in mind the deadline for this game week is Friday night, so there are 2 games in Friday, so don't forget that. Lock your teams before that. And this is the wildcard I am considering at the moment, but I have 2 more days to think about it. Maybe I get some team news, maybe I will find out if Island St. Maximum is fit or not. Maybe some players get injured in the Champions League games. I will wait and see, but for the moment this will most likely be my wildcard team. And for game week 8 I will captain Haaland, who plays Wolves away, unless I end up with Harry Kane in my team. If I get Harry Kane, then he will be my captain against Leicester at home. And yes, that's pretty much it. I covered everything, I believe. Thank you for watching the video, and good luck to all of you in the upcoming fixtures. Goodbye.